Hey, welcome. I'm Jess Lujan. Welcome to KUAM News' Primetime Decision 2014. I want to introduce my producer of the show, Keen JC Conception. Of course, I'm Jess Lujan. My in-studio guest this morning, of course, are incumbent speaker Judi and former Senator Frank Blas Jr. Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, Senator. How you doing?
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We're going to start with the lady, of course.
Of course.
Okay. Just again, tell the people of Guam your name, as of course everybody knows, side of the battle you're on, and your platform. You have 1 minute.
Okay, good morning. I'm Judith Pat. I'm a Democrat. I'm number 9 on the Democratic side of the ballot.
She wants to finish number 1. Right?
I'm an educator by profession, and I like to talk about my greatest accomplishments, and there are my 3 children, because of, my medical case at the time, but they're my greatest accomplishments, of course. And, being an educator, of course, a lot of my focus has been on education, and we've done a lot in terms of, like, for example, the renovation of Okudu High School, not the renovation, but the expansion of it, the traffic light, of course, we did the JFK High School, and so on. But my platform really is not necessarily anything new in a sense, because whatever I'm doing right now, I'm continuing to do, and I hope I'll be able to share with you some of those ideas in terms of regionally how to help the hospital, in terms of insurance and in terms of in lieu of cash towards, of course, the government. So there's a lot to be discussed, and I hope I'll have an opportunity to do just that.
There we go. Senator?
Hey, well, thank you first for the opportunity to do. My name is Frank Blas Jr. I am number 7 on the Republican side of the primary ballot, and asking for your support in this year's election. My platform is primarily focused around the opportunities that we have here on Guam. We are so very close to what is now called the marketplace for business, that being Asia. And with Guam, with its geographical location and its position, there are many opportunities that are there for many of our people. And so my platform is going to be focused on creating and enhancing the different opportunities that lay before our people, so that we can not just grow our economy, but have our people become more successful, and be able to have the lives that they would like, and bring I guess dignity and respect back into our community.
Thank you, Senator. And I want to say that you guys are perfectly matched in the sense of where you're at, right? Because you both have federal issues that you argue
Yes.
about and you stand for as well, and you both ran for the delegate's position as well.
And we
both
lost
I'm not going to say that, okay?
That's okay.
to the same person.
Exactly. So we have a lot in common.
Well, you both have, as the people say, next time. Okay,
Yes.
next time. But let me start with you now, Senator. And we just received, and I'm sure you just read that notice that came out, where the Obama administration now formally has come out and said what we've known already for the longest time, but now it's been officially said, where they're basically saying citizenship is not within the class of fundamental constitutional rights, and that they apply to unincorporated territories. So now that you've officially said that, you've been a proponent on looking at our political status, war reparations, and all that. Your thoughts on this, and isn't this very clear now that we got to self-determine our political status?
Yeah, most definitely, Senator. First off, thanks to President Obama, we've now got a new definition for tomorrow. It's called second-class citizenship. And unfortunately, and I say that facetiously, but this goes to show that we're now at a time when of course everybody should be politically mature, and we've got to be able to garner and gain the respect that first off, that many of our people had fought for, many of our people had sacrificed for, many of our people want. And it's the proper recognition and just knowing where we stand in this fabric called the American family. And so, this, I don't want to say new revelation, based on the brief filed by the Obama administration, because like you said, we've known it. Now he's just affirming it. And when you have the most powerful man in the world saying that, that citizens, that people living in the outlying areas in the U.S. territories are not U.S. citizens by constitutional right, and that Congress can take it away anytime they want. That's something that we really we got to look at, and we've got to be able to address so that we can move forward.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Speaker, you got a minute 20.
Oh, thank you. I of course, I agree with Frank, but for me, every time there's a bad situation, I always try to see what the good that can come out of this, and definitely, I feel the good is that the mere fact that the top man of the nation has actually now professed this and admitted it. Of course, well, definitely the good part now is that I think our people would become more determined, I suppose, to really move forward, and that we need to make this one of our priorities on the island. And I say this because truly, then, as a second-class citizen, is that we really are voiceless. Not so much in the sense that we don't have a voice or vote in Congress, but when I say we are voiceless, because there are things that the national government, federal government, has done and will continue to do so long as we are voiceless. And it takes me to the most recent treaty that just took place that maybe our people are not aware of, that on August 1st, during the Pacific Islands Forum, which is, of course, hosted by the United States, but in Palau, the United States State Assistant Secretary, just signed a treaty with the FSM government, actually taking portions of the Marianas Trench, giving it to FSM because they want to have this equidistance between one country, the United States, to another country, FSM. And what does that really say about us? They're talking about us. They're taking part of our natural resources, the ocean, and we have nothing to say at all about it. So that's why I think that this is really an opportune time to be able to.
Now, Speaker, I'll start with you now again. Let's continue with this conversation. The military buildup, we've dealt with that, and we've served in the legislature when 2006 when we dealt with that. The number has gone down from 8,000 to 10,000 now to anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 Marines now. They're exclusive of families and all that. Now, with the confirmation of this, us not being constitutional citizens of the United States, do you think, in your view, would this bring some new light in regards to this buildup? And would we leverage this now based on, again, I don't know what leverage we can use in our favor in regards to this military buildup? Your views on that, and one other thing again, Pagat was the firing range, the preferred place at one time. Now it's moved to Ritidian. Your thoughts on that as being preferred site for the firing range? So 2 questions.
I know, and that's a real short time to do all this. First of all, Pagat really still is on the table. They just provided Ritidian as another option. Fena is still another option. But, they were focusing on Ritidian now because that was the one area that they did not do in their total analysis of, where places should be considered. Now, so Ritidian is what they're saying. So really, when you look at all of this, we really don't have an option. They're not really giving us a choice, because even though we would respond, automatically they'll come back in the final EIS and then they would say, well, this is our preferred choice, regardless of whatever input we have. And that's the same thing as well as what I said earlier, when the U.S. is going to be making some decisions for us, and we're truly not on the table. We were providing comments because it's required by the NEPA process, but that's basically it. We can't even negotiate at all because of our political status. How can such a small country, like I said, the FSM states that, because every one of them, even the smallest is, but yet they have more say-so about their country than we even do in terms of our natural resources. So it's not really a choice. And my whole concern has been and always been is that, we have to be pro-Guam. We have to make sure that this is done right for our island and our people.
Okay, thank you. Minute 30 for you, Senator.
Well, first off, just I think we have to go back to a fundamental question. What plan are we talking about? If I recall, back in 2006, and then again when we met with Senator Levin, if I remember correctly, it was in 2009, 2010, the question was posed whether or not we had, we had approved, or do we approve of the plan? And my question to the senators, and in 2014, it still continues to be my question. What plan are we talking about? Senate is still waiting for the plan to be submitted by the Department of Defense. They hadn't since 2006 to submit that plan. And as we've seen over the last few years, as we're moving forward in this process and with this EIS and that record of decision, the Senate has always come back and said, "Where's the plan? What are you referring to?" So we're going through this whole process and we're going through this whole exercise based on what plan? Mm-hmm. And I think that we first need to be able to address and identify that. Because while we're concerned and we're talking about Rutidian and we're talking about PAGA and we're talking about FENA, what happens if the plan provided into the Senate has got 3 other sites? Mm-hmm. Okay? So that's my question. What plan are we talking about?
Okay, thank you. Senator? Speaker. No. Going back to this, or shifting gears here, the Save Schools Act. You're the author, okay? I don't think you were in the legislature when that was passed. That was passed, I think it was last year, yeah? Untalon Middle School, just recently, over the weekend, was vandalized. As a former lawman, you're still a lawman. What can we do in sense? I mean, we got to take ownership. But in regards to we have a law, we have a bill that became law a little over a year ago. It's supposed to be implemented for last school year. It doesn't look like it's going to be implemented for this school year. Superintendent Fernandez is, for lack of a better word, disappointed. I'm sure he's got harsher words than that. I'm sure you are as well as the author of the bill. What can we do to move this procurement, to get it out there, knowing again this is a big problem? How do we put urgency on what we know now is being committed, as you say in your address? Almost one school is vandalized almost every month.
Well, I think one of the first things that we need to do is basically put timelines. As many people my staff would know. There's a couple words that I really despise, that I really am uncomfortable with when we're talking about plans and about planning. I don't, the word soon, and I'll get to it, later. I think that what we're going to need is we need to put timelines. When we say that we're going to do this, and maybe this is something we've got to look at, is put 3, 6, 9 months, or 1, 3, 6 month reporting requirements, maybe not to the legislature, but to the body that's going to be tasked to be able to carry out to carry out that function, so that when there is that paper trail, if you will, of where the process is at, and if the issue is with regards to hiccups and problems in as far as the procurement, we can address it then. We don't have to wait 6 months down the road after we saw it. We saw that the issue wasn't being addressed 3 months earlier, to try to fix it. Let's, as soon as it comes in and it says, well, we haven't moved yet, have somebody get on top of it and move on.
Thank you. Speaker, you have a minute 15.
Thank you. I remember, yes, when the bill had passed, and we immediately contacted a GSA to let them know about it, and I also met with the superintendent and one of his deputies. One of the things that was put in the legislation, because you try to maximize the use of your dollars, and we didn't have enough money to go out and bring in a company, and by doing so anyway would eliminate them from participating. So what we did then is that we used our government people. So we called in departments and agencies that really use this type of technology in their agency, like the Port Authority, the police. We got the what do you call those guys, agriculture people, fire department, all of them. So they all came in, provided some information, say what type of equipment maybe would be best to use for wherever the places are. So GSA went back, and the process I realized has really been long, and yes, it's been really frustrating for me. We asked DOE to go and assess all of their schools, tell us where are the high-profile areas. And I will have to say that finally, and I say finally, is because I just got word yesterday that GSA, maybe this incident made it, pushed it even further, is that by the end of this week, all of the packet should be completed for it to go out next week. The RFP should be out next week. And then, of course, from that, we have so many companies who are really interested. And yes, I'm really pushing to get it in for this school year.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I think we have tsunami warning sirens that are still. I think when you were there, I think they came in, right?
Yeah.
Right.
and
it's
so,
not up yet.
It's not up yet,
activated.
and that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know who that's going to warn. I mean, I guess one of the things that one of the qualifications to run for mayor in the village now is you have to have a strong voice that can resonate throughout the village. I guess, right? But anyway, let's shift now to the hospital. The hospital has been, I think it's kind of taken over DOE in regards to monies, I mean, I remember DOE when in the legislature, I think it was every quarter we were dealing with appropriations, and the hospital is the same way at this point. Administrator Verga had just arrived from the Philippines, said, hey, we're going to partner up with St. Luke's. That's great, fantastic. Our people won't have to travel. You still have to find a source of funding because you still have to pay for those specialists to come out here. So the non-payers are going to continue to be non-payers. So we got to pay for these expertise to come out here. So the payers, people that continue to pay, will be burdened with even higher costs because now you're probably going to be seeing more people come to the hospital. What is your solution to this? When I was the vice chair and you were the chair of healthcare, I was vice chair under Dr. Michael Cruz. It was a bucket full of holes at the time. Now it's a bucket with no bottom. Speaker, your solution.
Thank you. Fortunately, is that I'm currently the president of the Association of Pacific Island Legislatures, where there are two senators or legislators from each of the islands in Micronesia. And I've been thinking about this for some time. And we've always heard, of course, is that many times they have become a burden to our hospital and are unable to pay. Their government can't pay, they can't pay because they're not insured. So one of the things that I've already discussed with my colleagues, and we've gone so far already in terms of submitting a grant application to OIA, is that we want to establish what we call regional health insurance for everyone throughout Micronesia. We want it to be affordable and we want it to be accessible for everyone. Primarily because we want that when they come to Guam, they will be covered by this insurance, and then of course the insurance will pay this off. I've spoken to all the insurance companies, they all love it. Now we're just going to have to do an actuarial study. So we're waiting for the monies to come in now from OIA, and once that happens, then of course we'll hire an actuarial team to do the study for the feasibility of doing this and setting up a plan to be able to present to all of the governments throughout Micronesia. That would definitely help in terms of payment. The second thing is that we know already we do have some bills that are owed to our government. And one thing that I'm really working on, taking again an example that was done with a recent typhoon in the Philippines, where we got companies from the United States, pharmaceutical companies, who were willing to donate, full containers of medications. And so what I've already started the conversation with both public health and the hospital as well, is that to work with this company, actually there's a three-pronged approach to this in terms of what this company offers. Is not just pharmaceuticals, but equipment, hospital equipment, and even antiseptic, supplies.
Sure.
So what the idea here is that, and I've spoken to the president of St. Mori also as well, but he kind of likes the idea, but now he's going to have to sell it to his Congress, is that when they offer us, and one example actually, they did offer us a container load of antibiotics for about $35,000, and the hopes was that is to get FSM Congress to buy this, get what they need, and then the rest, of course, because we can do inventory, we can actually store them, and we can get them out to our people. So that then would, let's say, $35,000 worth of materials, antibiotics, but the actual value of that really is 10 times more. And then that can be in lieu of cash. as a payment then to the hospital.
Thank you. Speaker knows how to have me limit my question. Two and a half minutes. Speaker, I mean, Senator.
Well, one of the things that I value, being able to be out of politics, in this year and a half, and being back in the family business, is we recognize you can't run a business if you've got so many receivables. You've got to be able, if you've got some people that owe you, in order for your business to move forward, in a lot of cases, you need to be able to make good on those collections and stuff. So, this whole discussion with regards to what we need to do with this hospital, it's going to take up more time than what you're giving us this morning, Jess, quite honestly. But that said, is just in that, it's all of this conversation that needs to be expanded. How did we get here? Okay, and how did we, like you said, this used to be a bucket with many holes. Now it's a bucket without a bottom. I like that. But then, however, we need to be able to address those issues as to how the bottom fell out of it. Okay, and fix those things, because if we continue to put band-aids on this thing, how much band-aid can you put in a bucket with no bottom? Okay, I mean it's not. You got to get a new bucket, quite honestly. But when you get that new bucket, you got to be able to address those issues that broke the old bucket. And part of that is the payments that are necessary. Getting the proper staff. Going back to the very first question, the very first issue that we talked about when we first came on, about our status now. Maybe this, like the speaker says, this gives us an opportunity now to be able to open discussions with regards to, now regional healthcare, now being able to look elsewhere, in as far as being able to bring in professionals, working with the professionals that we have here, okay, so that we can not just help to reduce the cost, but then to increase, the quality of healthcare that we currently have. In a couple months, there's going to be another hospital that's going to be online. What is that going to do to our current hospital? And recognizing this, how are we going to be able to provide the health care to our people? So there are many different ways that we can that we can address this thing. What we got to do is we got to be able to address going back to how those holes got in that bucket.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Let's start with you now. You both ran for the Washington delegate's position. Both of you are very passionate in regards to, of course, war reparations. Recently, maybe about a little over a month ago, there was an editorial, an opinion, where a journalist had expressed their opinion and said, "We got to give it up. It's a waste of time to do. Let's move on to something else." Over the years, we've gotten, the federal government has been very generous in regards to grants and things of that nature. We should give it up at this point. Your thoughts on that? Because again, as the numbers on a daily basis, you guys go to funerals, you see those survivors continue to dwindle. At some point, they're going to cease to exist, and their stories are going to be told by the second person as opposed to the first. Your thoughts on giving that up, and if that's not your thought process, what do you propose to do? Should you be elected, to be able to? Are there new ways that we can approach this, Senator?
Well, first off, if Abe Lincoln decided that after 16 times of running for political office and 16 times losing, that he wasn't going to run for the 17th time, he probably wouldn't have been elected to be our greatest president of the United States. Thomas Edison decided on the 999th time that the filament that he was working on, to bring, light into a home, after the 999th failure, that he was going to stop. Probably we wouldn't have the lights that we have today. Okay? They never stopped. They continued, they persisted. What Thomas Edison said, back then, was that he didn't have 999 failures. There was he just found out 999 ways it didn't work. Okay? So taking that same attitude, taking that same thing is, okay, we've done this so many times, we tried so many, okay, so we know what doesn't work. Okay? Let's look at ways now, and let's learn from what has happened before, and let's find new ways to be able to do this. We have to continue to find efforts to honor our people, to honor our people. If you talk to a lot of the Minonko, okay, it's really not about the money. It's about the honor. It's about the recognition of what they had to go through. It's about making sure that there's some substance, and that there, and there's dignity to what they had to endure. And if I'm going to give up on that, then what is our purpose? Then what purpose do we have for anything else that we do? Okay?
Okay, thank you. Minute 30. Speaker.
Thank you. Okay, I'll make this quick. I totally agree. And this man has done a lot in terms of the projects that he's done to recognize and remember, our people. And that definitely we must never stop doing. We must continue to recognize them. We have to make sure that they're part of our history book so they'll always be remembered. And it's always great for future generations because we surely don't want this to happen again. We don't want to be victims again of war. However, when in visits that I've made to the mainland and spoken to congressional delegates there in the House and also in the Senate, one of the things that the McCain staff told us is that he really was saying, well, we'll be willing to do something that would be to memorialize those individuals with a monument. And we were totally insulted because we've indicated and listed a long list of monuments that we've done because we're very good about that. We take care of our people, we remember our people. So this is something he wanted to do. So I said, well, how then can we turn this around? So one of the things I was thinking of is that what if, go to Congress then and says, okay, so you don't want to give cash because you don't want to open a Pandora's box. Well, how about this? Is you come out and provide funding for our hospital, funding to renovate totally, expand our hospital, because I want to tie in the sufferings that our people endured during the war, tie that into medical care. And then once they do that, then in the foyer, then we'll relist everyone, aside from what's in Nimitzio, but put all the people there. And the reason why I say that is because everybody, one time or another, would have to go to the hospital for whatever reasons. They'll continually see the names of those individuals. They'll be there and remembered forever. But then this is how they could tie it in. Take care of our people this way through our hospital by expanding it, renovating it. And we have to do that now because of this new hospital. The other thing then is that leave to us. In other, again, grants that we could work, again, with Congress is to expand now the services for our Minonko. Different things that federal grants that we have that actually takes care of them, like food service that we have for them, respite care that we have for them. And that's how we can use this money to take care of our people the way we know how to.
Thank you. Hey, we've come to that point. Thank you very much again. You always find ways to
I'm sorry.
to knock down my questions, so we don't have any time. But I tell you what, let's start with Senator now. Again, your closing statements. Again, to talk to people of Guam, tell them what side of the ballot you're on, your name, your number, and what you would do first day that you get elected.
Well, first off, Jess, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank you for teaming me with the speaker here.
It just happened that way.
It just happened that way, and I would truly appreciate this. Once again, I'm asking for the people of Guam for their support and their vote, and the honor and the privilege of being able to serve them in the upcoming legislature. I have spent the last year and a half in a family business and seeing out there how it is to be able to run a business and how we can help different people from a different perspective, just different aspect. And one of the things that I'm enthused about and I want to be able to bring to the legislature is looking at many of the different opportunities that lay before us and making and providing our people the opportunities, giving them the tools, the direction, showing them which way to go, so that they can lead more successful lives. I have been over the last few months. I have had the privilege of working with many people who have taken advantage of different opportunities and working with them to be able to build their lives. Just seeing this, I recognize that if we can do this island-wide, we can go back and we can restore the respect and the honor and the dignity that our community so sorely needs. And we can move our island forward on this.
What number again are you?
I'm number 7 on the Republican side of the primary ballot.
There we go. Speaker?
Okay, let me get this out of the way. I'm Judith Wanpan. I'm number 9 on the Democratic side of the ballot. And thank you so much for having me here and also pairing me with Frank. you know, a lot of the issues that I mentioned earlier, of course, has to do with health, and this is not an area, of course, that I came to be an expert of, but I really learned a lot, and I'm running with it right now, and I continue to run with this even in January, so it's not what I want to do right then and there. I'm already starting. I've spoken to already Senator Rodriguez to really have a health summit, because this is an issue that we really need to address, not just for us, but throughout the region. There are other things that I've done, like the cattle industry, to help stimulate the economy, and similar to that, I like to get that also, get others going, such as the artists, the entrepreneurs, because they have been a group, of course, that hasn't been recognized, you know, in our community.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many areas, I realize that, and you know, I'm really passionate about what I do. I love our island, I love our people, and I love serving the people of Guam, so I really hope that you can consider voting for me as well. Thank you so much.
Well, Speaker and Senator, thank you very much for joining me this morning. Tomorrow morning, right here on the Candidate Buzz, I will have, of course, incumbent Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr., as Democrat, of course, and candidate from the Republican side, Roland Blas. That's tomorrow morning right here on the Candidate Buzz. You can watch a broadcast of this tonight on local channel 2 at 7:30. Likewise, highlights on KUAM TV 8 primetime news. Highlighted there, and also tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. on KUAM TV 8, and this will be posted on KUAM's YouTube channel about 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning, so you can have access to that. So again, thank you very much. Good luck in this upcoming primary and also the general election.
Thanks, Jess.
Okay, thank you very much. Join me tomorrow morning again, right here on the Candidate Buzz.